Love a show, man. Backspin, Sirius XM. My man, Mr. Bun B, is in the house, and Professor Penn is here. Good day, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks for having us.
How are you? You are doing something spectacular. They gave me a little brief synopsis on it, but I want you guys to tell the audience what you guys are doing.
Go ahead, Prof.
Well, right now, Dr. Anthony Penn and I, we teach a course at Rice University in Houston. The course is Religion and Hip Hop Culture. We've taught it for 4 years now. Doc has actually taught the course himself in some form or fashion over the last 20 years. A little over 4 years ago, he asked me to come in to the course at Rice University and just be a guest speaker, a guest lecturer, and be a guest of the course. Talking to him before the course, conversations with him, I was like, yo, I get this dude. I get where he's coming from. Because I was like, this is a college professor. He don't know nothing about this,
Right.
But he don't know nothing about this rap life,
Right.
But meeting him, I'm like, yo, this dude, he knows more than I think people probably giving him credit for. Like, he really not only understands the music, he understands the culture. He has a deep appreciation for the culture, and changed my whole mind about the academy and the people within the academy. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. So after doing the class, he and one of his students, graduate students, Andrea, actually asked me would I want to come in and co-teach the course with him. Now, I ain't got a college degree. I don't come from a teaching background, but this was an opportunity for me to show hip-hop in a way that has never been shown before, to have hip-hop reach another level of appreciation, right? And to have hip-hop really live in the academy in a real way, not just through references in curriculums, right? Not just different quotes from books or different songs or whatnot. Like, to have living, breathing hip-hop culture on the university grounds, right? And it's been one of the best decisions I ever made. Like, this was one of the things that I thought, I don't do this, right? This ain't you. It's not your world. They're not gonna understand you. Don't do it. But people around me was like, you got to take advantage of this. Doc kept telling me, like, you can do this. I trust you. I believe in you. I wouldn't bring you into this if I didn't think you could do it. And again, man, it's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
Wow. So tell me about the course, Professor Anthony Penn.
Well, first off, I've been teaching for 21 years and been doing this course for 20, but I've been a hip-hop fan for longer than that.
Okay.
So once I got to Rice, I had an opportunity to do this thing for real, and that involved bringing Bun into the classroom. So we wrestle with some hard issues. We're looking at the intersections, the connections, and the points of disagreement between religion and hip-hop culture. And we highlight in the course the relationship between Christianity and hip-hop and Islam and hip-hop. And then at the end of the course, we wrestle with a different question. Is it possible that hip-hop has replaced these traditions and that hip-hop is now a religious tradition?
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep right there. I would say hip-hop is religion in some people's homes.
Yeah.
I would honestly say so. And I think religion has always played a part in hip-hop. If I'm not mistaken, I think the first person I ever heard say anything about Islam in hip-hop was Kwame. I think Kwame was the first person that I believe, he said, my sole chief belief is that of Islam on the song The Rhythm. I had never heard anybody say that or touch on it or even mention it. There was guys that were 5%ers and things like that, but there was nobody that was just like really said out and out that this is my sole chief belief. So that's an interesting concept between hip-hop and religion, because usually you don't discuss those things in the same room.
I think there's the connotation from the hip-hop culture of what religion means, and I think there's the same thing from the religious culture as to what hip-hop means, right? So when you start saying hip-hop and religion, you think rap music and church, right? When you think hip-hop, you think rap music. When you think religion, you think church. So when you start thinking about rap music and church together, that's where the heads, the ideological heads, so to speak, start to bump, right? So we have to make a clear distinction of what hip-hop culture is and what religion is, and the similarities between the two, which, are a greater number than the things that they don't agree on.
So do you go back in this class? Do you start at the beginning of hip-hop? Like, can somebody take the class that's not familiar at all with hip-hop?
We start at the beginning of music, period, right? So in order to put hip-hop in its proper historical context, we have to talk about all the different things in America that helped to create hip-hop, right? We talk about the original forms of music, from the Negro spirituals up to blues music, up to jazz music, up to soul music, R&B, disco music. All of these things eventually inform and help to create hip-hop culture, right? The dancing, the music, the emceeing, the graffiti, all of these things are just a part of other elements of American life, right? Things that existed in this country, some things coming in from other countries, right? That help to inform and help create this culture. And now this culture has its own rituals and practices within the culture that help it to define itself.
Yeah, but the culture now is a much different culture than it was before.
Well, yeah, because, what we have now is, rap music versus hip hop culture, right? Rap, as one of the four pillars of hip hop, has always been the loudest form because it's the voice of hip hop, right? It's the mouthpiece. It has the microphone. It's the one that does the talking. It's the one that's standing in front of the crowd. And what happens is that rap music and rappers started to deviate from the original reasoning and ideology behind the creation of hip hop culture, based on record company influence, having to, deal within the parameters of radio, corporate sponsorship, all these different things for certain people helped them, well, I wouldn't say help them, but kind of drew them away from what hip hop was originally intended to do, right? Because the money's good.
Right.
We want that money.
I always say that's the worst thing that ever happened to hip hop.
I remember when I got in, nobody was making money, right? Nobody was really making no money. So that's why you just wanted to be fresh, you wanted to be fly, and you wanted to be respected, right? That's why I became an MC. But if you're waking up right now in 2015 and you want to become an MC, it's for much different reasons.
You want to get paid.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And the same sort of thing has happened with religion. If you think about, about the black church, for example, back in the day and what it stood for, and now think in terms of mega churches, prosperity gospel, and compare a Creflo Dollar or an Eddie Long to a Martin Luther King Jr. or an Adam Clayton Powell Jr.
Right. There's no comparison.
No.
Right.
No comparison because they come from that small church, that little community-based church where you could not only understand where pastor was coming from, but you had a personal relationship with pastor. How do you have a personal relationship when you're one of 23,000 or 40,000 in a mega church?
Not only that, Ed, keep in mind that a lot of us lived in the same neighborhood with your pastor, right?
That's right.
So if you went to church in your neighborhood, you lived in your neighborhood, everybody in the pew lived in the neighborhood, the deacons,
pastor and
the
his
ushers,
children,
everybody
the
lived
choir,
in the neighborhood, right?
So in the neighborhood.
So there's no real difference between your quality of life and my quality of life, right? We're all in this together trying to improve our qualities of life. But then this changes, then we start seeing these preachers with the Cadillacs, right? Mm-hmm. And you got the preacher in the big
Reverend
chair in
Ike
front.
and them from back in the day.
Exactly, right? And the dynamic starts to change within the church. And that's a part of the reason why some people are walking away from the church. They're not getting away from Christ. They're not getting away from God. They're just getting away from church.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't just about the offering plate, right? It was about making a difference in lives.
Right. Yeah, now it's about the 20% tithes or the biggest athletes or hip-hop artists that you could get to come to the church.
And the ATM machine
that's
in the hall.
in the hallway.
This is basically the perspective from which we teach from, right? Mm-hmm. This is a big part of the foundation that we built this class on, what Sean is talking about, the perception of hip-hop culture and the way it's being promoted and marketed to the masses as opposed to the way that you and I know the culture was meant to be perceived and the way it was meant to be represented and presented to the people. And the same thing with churches. And like he said, there's a very big difference between being religious and being spiritual, right? Because religion deals with the institution, right? And spiritual deals with the connection. And there's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Dr. Penn, Professor Penn, you were saying that you were a child preacher?
Yes, sir.
For how long?
Oh, I started preaching when I was a preteen, about 12, and stopped when I was about 25.
Now, what made you stop?
It wasn't serving the purpose. That I was in the pulpit answering questions that folks weren't asking, right? And the hard issues of life, I didn't have a response to, right? I'm in the pulpit.
Give me an example.
Well, so I'm preaching in New York. I was an undergrad in New York, and I worked at a church in Bed-Stuy. And from there, I worked at a church in Roxbury, right, in Boston. Mm-hmm. And I'm the youth minister, and I'm dealing with kids who are dying, who are having an easier time thinking about the eulogy they want than thinking about a bright future. And I didn't have much to say based upon my position as a preacher. When I talked to other ministers about it, their response was, let the people get happy with you. Well, shit, happy about what? Life was rough, and I didn't have a good response. And I could not be a hypocrite. There were a lot of things I was willing to be, but I was not going to be a hypocrite. So I couldn't be in the pulpit preaching what I didn't think worked.
Right.
So I left.
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep. That must have been a struggle for you to leave. because from the time you were 12 or 13, you felt like you was doing God's work, and then to walk away from it, like how did you break away from it?
You know, it wasn't that hard because I'd always been taught to do what I thought was right, and the consequences you just deal with. And so for me, this was the right move. It was right, and I was willing to deal with whatever came. And so having integrity, being responsible and reasonable, and being about the business was much more important than whether folks thought I had slipped away, whether they thought I was now going to hell. That didn't matter. I had to do what I thought was right.
Pastor them backslid. I can imagine the rumors that was going out about you. There's some woman done got it. Right.
Hey, but there's nothing wrong with walking away from the church in order to get closer to God. If that's what you need to do to get closer to God, then so be it.
So that's what they were telling you, to let the people be happy?
Let the people get happy with you, no, right? Just hoop. Give them something to holler about, and that'll make it all right. And that just didn't work.
They don't put no eggs in the refrigerator.
That just didn't work.
In the course of this interview, because Dr. Penn and I have actually just finished editing a book in conjunction with the course with a woman, with the Rice course from we partnered with another writer as well, Monica Miller. She's an instructor over at Lehigh University. So there's a book that we've edited based on the context, the themes, and the ideas behind the class. That's one of one of the resources that we're drawing from in conjunction with this class. So that's coming in the summer.
It's May.
That's coming this May. So that'll be my next literary piece, and then we're gonna backdoor at some point with another coloring book. You know, we're going forward again. But yeah, definitely within the context and confines of the course, we talk about how, for some people, in certain cases, hip-hop actually replaces religion as the source from where they draw their inspiration and the way that they choose to deal with the harder questions, right? Because you hear so many people talking about, especially within Catholicism, I hear so many people that get caught up, like, you know, it's all about practices. Nothing seems really personal. It's all about, you know, repetition of tradition, a repetition of rituals, right? And for some people, that just doesn't do it for them. You know, for some reason or what other, the rituals within the institutions just doesn't make a real connection for them. Doesn't really teach them to be a better person per se. It just teaches them how to be a Catholic, right? Mm-hmm. So for them, you can go to for certain people, religion can be a burden, right? The institution and having to deal with the rituals within the institution can almost seem like a burden for them. So for us, we look at people who use hip hop as a way to help them deal with the rough questions about life. Who are we? Why are we here? What is our purpose? For some people, religion doesn't always give them the definitive answer to deal with these type of things. For some people, hip-hop gives them the information and the answer in order to deal with life in a better, deeper, and more concise way.
How long is the course when you guys teach it? Like, how many weeks is the actual course?
The online course is 16 weeks, but on
6 weeks.
6 weeks, but on campus it's like 15
weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
15 weeks of intense studying and working hard, and you really got to bust your ass to take this course.
and I'm not like an MC or a teacher in residency or somebody that comes in once a month to offer my opinion on whatever they're talking about. I'm in the classroom every day that we teach this course. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm in there. I'm lecturing. Doc always has me lecture first. Right?
Why is that, Doc? Why you put him out there first?
Nah, Doc wanted me to, Doc was very adamant about me being given the title of professor, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm doing the work that any other professor is doing in the course. So for me, I got to live up to that with Doc, right? Mm-hmm. I'm also, in the earlier stages, I'm very uncomfortable with what I'm doing. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. But the only way to get to where you're doing it right is to just keep doing it.
Right.
So Doc is like, look, you get out there, you got to take the lead. If there's anything I feel maybe I need to fill in or change the conversation or pull it around or whatever, then I'll come in after you do that. But for the most part, Prof, you got it. I believe in you. Go out there and do it. And kind of demanding me to putting me in that position and pigeonholing me into that position, I had no choice but to deal with it and get over it and get over myself, to be honest, So
when they at home doing homework, you was at home doing homework too?
Without question. I probably put more hours into structuring my lecture than they probably did dealing with the homework.
Yeah, I get phone calls. Doc, I got this question. I've been doing this reading and I got this question about it. So he's been prepped. It is no question about it, but I knew from the very beginning that he would. And it's important to say that Bun is absolutely right. He doesn't miss class. If I'm truthful about it, I've missed more classes than Bun has missed.
Why Bun? Why him? There's a million MCs out there. 1,000,001 in Houston. Why Bun B?
Well, one, because I appreciate him as an artist, but I did some homework, and I also knew that he was reasonable, accountable, responsible, and thoughtful.
Right.
So I was taking a chance, right? This is what I do at Rice. I've been doing this course, but I was taking a chance in opening this up in a different way and doing it differently.
So you never
So I
dealt
needed-
with an actual artist before?
Well, not coming in and sharing this on an ongoing basis, because Bun wasn't just visiting.
Right.
We made him a distinguished lecturer, a certain type of relationship, and I needed someone for whom this was going to be real, that they were going to show up when they needed to show up. We're going to do the work and be about the business. And everything I knew, everything I heard indicated that Bun was the guy.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely the right choice. Yeah, absolutely the right
Man,
choice.
thank you.
Without a doubt.
I'm humbled.
Well, it's more than 3 men, 4 men in this room that really love hip hop, and 2 young ladies that really love hip hop. We are all in this together. See, I love a show backspin Sirius XM. How can people get this course? Can the average person just take this course, or you have to be a? How do you get the course?
Everybody that's listening to this broadcast right now can take this course. You don't have to be in Houston. You don't have to be in Texas. You don't have to be a college student right now. Anybody that wants to take this course that has an internet connection can take this course, right? You go to www.edx.org. You look up religion and hip hop culture. You find the course. You do about maybe 3 clicks, a little bit of typing, maybe we'll say 5 clicks, a little bit of typing. Bam, you're there. You're ready to go. May 24th. The class activates, it goes live, and you're in position to take the 6-week sessions.
Oh, that's great.
And it's free. That's
And
important
it's
to
free?
say. It's free.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep forgetting to
It's
say
free.
that.
Free is everything.
Starts March
Y'all
24th.
hear that? It's free.
It's free.
Starts
Free.
March 24th and it's free.
Wow.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't beat a free
Can't beat it.
course.
You have no excuse now to not take it.
Yeah.
And it's not like if, when it starts on May 24th, the six weeks go online, right? And they're available to you, right? But you don't have to take them specifically within a 6-week window, right? If you got a lot of other things going on, you can only get to certain parts at certain times, you can take it at your leisure. You can take it at your pace, right? But just make sure to go through the whole thing, do the work. Trust me, it's beneficial to you. It's an incredible conversation that we're having, and we really want people to be a part of it. So much that this class is being offered for free. I mean, things change, right? The world changed, and we can't all keep doing the same thing we're doing all the time, right? The culture has to change. We try to keep it to ourselves, but then at the same time, we give it out to the world, right? So when it goes out into the world, you can't be upset about how it comes back all the time, right? And when people got in the game, when I got in the game, they got in the game for a different reason, right? There wasn't a lot of money to be made off of rap. It was really more about reputation. It was really more about representation, right? So that's why a lot of people got into it in the earliest days of hip-hop. Then people started realizing that hip-hop as a culture was starting to spread throughout the country, throughout the world. And the further it spreads, the more money that gets accumulated within the culture. So now people that were doing this strictly for the love are now able to make money off of it. But even though they're making some money off of it, other people are making more money off of them than they are off of them, right? So as we go further, hip-hop becomes smarter. We learn how to take more advantage of the situation. We learn how to make money off of our art form ourselves. We don't have to go to everybody to get money to create rap music, right? So then the world realizes that we are the connection to the young generation, right? We are the voice that speaks directly to them. So you have people that live based off of the people that they do business with, right? So everybody wants the hip hop demographic. Everybody wants that audience. So people start throwing money at a lot of people who hadn't had that kind of money thrown at them before.
That's right.
And when you never really had money, sometimes you don't really know what to do with the money, and then when you get that money, it's like, okay, I want to keep getting this money. What do I need to do to keep getting it? So hip-hop was something that was built on reputation and representation, but it became something that for a lot of people who never really saw that kind of money, an opportunity to get that money. And you can't blame people for wanting to take advantage of that,
That's right?
So some people who really did have a love for the craft and the art form started finding ways to make money off of it. But then as you go into that and people see more and more rappers that are millionaires, rappers that are businessmen, creating companies, making all this money. Now everybody wants to be a rapper too, but not for the art form, not for the craft, but to be able to make the money like everybody that they're seeing, right? So people want to rap not to be as good a rapper as Jay-Z, but to be as rich a rapper as Jay-Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what's happened with the art form. People see more of the commerce than they do the actual art.
And I always tell them, Bun, that you got to search for it. It's out there. There are
It's there.
great young MCs out there. Fantastic wordsmith. out there that is still pushing the culture of hip hop, still love hip hop, still wants to be the best in the world. There's a lot of them out there. You just got to look past the trash.
Look,
and stop acting like we didn't have trash.
No, of course not, man. All hip hop wasn't great hip hop.
That's right.
There's good music and there's bad music.
Yeah, we were in the golden era, but there was some trash during that golden era.
Without question. But you know what? That's what lets you know that hip hop is a real art form, because it's not art until you can distinguish between good and bad.
That's right.
Like once there's a distinction between good and bad, then you're really dealing with art form, and then the dynamic becomes who's giving more to the process.
Right. Professor Penn, being a lover and student of hip hop, did you ever have any aspirations to grab the mic?
No, not at all.
No, not even when you was preaching.
I stay in my lane.
You didn't even have somebody on the turntables going chicka Jesus.
No. I stay in my lane.
You stay right in your lane.
Stay in my lane.
You said chicken Jesus. Hold on.
You know, you went from R-rated educator, man. You couldn't do that down, bro. I appreciate you gentlemen being with me today, man. I really do. May 24th it starts?
March 24th.
March. Oh, I thought you said May. Oh,
No, the book comes in May.
The book comes in May. The course starts in March.
24th.
Yes.
Okay.
www.edx.org, Rally 157X, Religion and Hip Hop Culture. It's
Okay.
real easy to find.
And when we get another album out of you, Brother Bun?
It's coming soon, man. I'm finishing up a compilation album now. 2 Trill Entertainment, that's the umbrella company. Also
Right.
2 Trill Entertainment West and Double Dose Entertainment, you know, the other members under the umbrella. And we're trying to create opportunities in music and production and writing and television and movies. You know, we want to be able to do all of these things, you know, like I just talked about, taking advantage of opportunities, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm making good money. I want to put myself in a position to where I don't have to worry about money anymore, so that I can make decisions purely based on just how I feel, right?
Right.
So this helps me put myself in a position to be able to do that. And because I'm not relying on money, I don't have to feel the need to steal money from any artist that I'm trying to help get out there, right? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
So that's just it, man. I just want to start, I want to bring in and usher in a new era of what a CEO is, right? And I'm not here to rate people, right? I spent my whole career working for people. I want to put myself in a position to work with people now.
There you go. Appreciate you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. It's the Ed Lover Show, y'all. It's Backspin on Sirius XM.